microdose every morning to really feel the medicine for myself and to expand into my heart space. So that was the first thing, to really delve deep into my own heart before I could offer that to others. I mean, both of your training was extraordinary for me. You know, how you held space, the magic that showed up. So I just wanted to travel a little bit first with doing my microdosing. And for my first cacao ceremony, it was actually a private. It was for a birthday celebration. A lady was turning 50, and I was recommended to her, and because I'm a channel, I tuned into what she needed. What healing does she need through Mother Cacao? What medicine through the heart? And she had a powerful connection with Goddess Kali. So I created the whole ceremony inside of the energy of Goddess Kali, which is of the West, of course, and it is of the release, of letting go of death and rebirth. So I knew that there was so much release for her, of letting go of the old, of dragon energy, of that fire. And it was incredibly moving. You know, there was movement involved. There were obviously the taking of the cacao. There was expression. There was tears. And there was the real healing at such a soul level for her in her whole celebration of her birthday, her birthright, coming into her sovereignty, and everything that was involved. It was an incredibly magical and powerful cacao ceremony. It was a baptism of fire, because you know all the nerves are there, and you're like, oh, how's it gonna go? But yeah, that was my first one, and it was a beautiful private celebration. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds so powerful, Pauline. So you were facilitating this ceremony?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So what was the first ceremony you received? You attended. Or you attended?
Oh, you know what? That I received. Sorry, I misunderstood. So it was actually, I didn't do Carlos's in Goa. The first one that I did, it was with Maria, who was also in Goa. She came to London, and that was the first cacao ceremony I ever did, and it literally turned my life upside down. I was working in corporate at that time, and you know, Maria doesn't speak English, so it's all kind of, you know, in the moment. you just dive into it, your soul gets involved, and the magic happens regardless. And it was like I something huge shifted in my soul that night. And I went into work the next day, and I was like, what am I doing here? Like my soul had left the room. I was sitting at my desk, and literally I could not work. And very soon after that, I left the job, and this is where I am now, fully embracing being a healer, you know, giving the gift of cacao to those who it calls to, and you know, interweaving it into everything that they offer. If somebody comes for a Reiki massage, I get the sense that they need some heart medicine, some cacao, so I'll make them some cacao. So it's not just, you know, giving, like, holding space for cacao ceremony, it's also connecting to what people need and hearing the call of the medicine and giving it to people when it's required. So it's incredibly intuitive, because like with everything, like with crystals, with essential oils, with plants, they tell you when to use them. And it's the same with cacao. She will tell you when to use, when to bring it forward for a client. So it's absolutely. I mean, oh my God, Carlos and Michelle, I don't think I thanked you both enough, because your training was like set me on this beautiful pathway, and the difference that I get to make with everybody who I meet and gift cacao to is it's through your pathway. So, and inside your training. So I just wanted to say thank you so much again.
Thank you, Pauline, for that. That is so profound, you know. We have found, like in my experience and also in the experiences of these live conversations that we have been having with you, how though this first ceremony we have, like every single one of us in very different countries and ambience and with different people, it has been so life-changing experience, so transcendental, our first cacao ceremony. And we have a lot of commentaries about how we didn't expect cacao to be so life-changing, so powerful, because we related like, oh, it's like chocolate, you know? Like, oh, little chocolate, I'm gonna feel cozy and that's it. And it's not like ayahuasca, it's not like peyote like I'm having. So a lot of people, and also the ceremonies we have been sharing, we also have this feedback about, oh, I didn't expect to have this kind of experience. I was coming to just like relax and they have maybe this process of like, after this ceremony, I changed completely my path. I quit my job. I don't know, had a different experience with my family. I healed my relationship with my mother or my dead grandmother. You know, it's like, wow, so powerful the work we can make with cacao.
Even like trauma revolving around rape, you know, or abuse. Many like strong things have come up for people around the experience. Some relating directly to the experience with the plant, and others with other tools, no? Like you say, maybe the crystals. In our case, maybe around the sound, the opening of the voice, like we touch in other lives, or the movement part around being in touch with other people, or being in a room without seeing anything, or maybe opening up, you know, their third eye, or their ability of perception of other things they weren't aware of before. So, but it all comes back that cacao helps to like become a bridge to those kind of processes, and it's very impressive.
Very, very much so, because we do know that the cacao is the portal between the heart and the throat and the third eye. And it's really important that you say, Carlos, about trauma, because a lot of people who do come to ceremonies, they're dealing with some kind of trauma. And, you know, when you take the people onto the journey, when you create that safe and sacred and safe space for people to be in, to really connect to themselves, when they journey with cacao, when they take it into themselves, and that connection to also the ancestral work. A lot of work that I do, some of it can be releasing karmic trauma. And this is through the lineage of our ancestors. And that comes from the earth, that comes from grounding through cacao, to open up the heart and to be able to release through the throat the grief. And what comes out through grief, through the throat chakra, then obviously then you have the water involved, the emotions, the release of tears, the breath. So naturally the elements come through the earth, air, fire, and water. You know, some people, their body gets hot, their breath comes a little bit quicker, the tears come. And it's a much deeper journey than a lot of people realize. A lot of the people who come to my cacao ceremonies have never been to one before, and they're blown away by the experience of cacao, the experience of the healing that takes place, the journey to the heart and the deep healing through the heart. And people just keep coming back again and again. They literally come to every single cacao ceremony that I do. Like, I do a monthly one at a place called Samsara, and they come each time, and that's beautiful because every time somebody comes to a cacao ceremony, it's the journey moves on. So it's a different healing that they receive, and they expand in another way, in another dimension. So every cacao ceremony is a multi-dimensional healing. So it's not just of the physical body, it's ancestrally, it's karmically, it's everything that the human self, it's a third dimension. We're in this third dimension, but it's not, it's the fifth, sixth. So it expands. And the vibrations are going out. So yeah, definitely there's trauma. There's people releasing grief, trauma, loss, connecting to the divine, feminine, masculine, which they have not been connecting to for a while. So it's a real deep healing journey, and you know, sometimes I don't say all of it in the bump, the description of cacao ceremony, because I don't want to scare people off. Because it's a real high vibration, it's a real healing journey for the soul self. So I keep it in a nurturing space so people feel safe to come, and then they're on that deep healing journey when they take the cacao, and they feel safe enough to go to the places where they need to heal.
Yeah, I love how you say they keep coming, you know. It's like in the house where we have been sharing here in Monterrey cacao like for 7 years now, I think, every month. We say it's like going to church or like going to mass, you know. It's like our kind of therapy, our form of connecting to the divine, of connecting to our heart. And of course, we feel like coming back because it's so nurturing. And every time we go or we facilitate a cacao ceremony, it's different. Even if we have like the same structure or kind of the same way of sharing, it's completely different because the moon is in a different phase, you know, we come in a different mood, something changed in our family. So it's so interesting to see that. I wanted to touch on another thing because for me it's very interesting what you said about your first ceremony with Maria, that she doesn't speak English, and how does that play? Because we remember a ceremony, one of the most interesting ceremonies we've had, it's with a group of Chinese people. So we arrived to this ceremony because we were invited to, and we didn't know that people didn't speak English. So we arrived like already to, okay, we're gonna give a ceremony. And when we were there, our host said like, okay, so I'm gonna translate everything because nobody speaks English. Everyone just speaks Chinese. And we were like, okay. Because, you know, like all the chants are in English.
Well, Spanish translated to English, and then translated to Chinese.
And it was so interesting because she was translating, but when we got to the part of movement, because we integrate this danzawa, this dance, she just got into the ceremony, into the flow, and she stopped translating. And they were all, like you said, like this was a soul connection, this heart connection that was already vibrating, and we didn't even need to translate or to communicate with concepts or with words. And it was one of the most profound ceremonies we've had with people that we didn't even connect to a language level, but we connected to a heart level. So it was, wow, transformational experience to see that we can connect in that vibrational language, maybe to say something. Yeah, it's like a vibrational language, and it gets through.
Yes, exactly. But that's the magic of cacao, isn't it? Because it's not actually about language, it's about the heart healing space. Yeah.
There's a phenomenon you mentioned that there's, for me, that was what triggered me, let's say, to work deeper with cacao the first time we had it together. I remember perfectly that I started crying without any kind of emotion at all. Like there was I wasn't feeling like sad or moved in a way, but I was crying quite a lot. And I'm not a big crier, and it's not something that I'm proud of. Like I would like to cry more. I feel like it's a big release. And I remember like the first maybe 10 ceremonies that I either attended or facilitated, I at some point just started crying like a lot, no? And it still happens sometimes. And for me, it's incredible because other power plants or plant medicines that are maybe stronger haven't given me that ability to cry without even having like to cry for something, no? And it's something that people have also shared, that suddenly they felt like a lot of tears coming down their cheeks, but they sometimes you didn't even know why they were crying. So it's something like it goes, I think, beyond onto the unconscious, and just like Michelle likes to say, no, just like a shower to the heart. It's like showering the heart with tears, and it goes beyond language concepts. It goes beyond like, oh, I'm crying because this happened to me and I need to heal this. It's just something that happens so naturally in a level of feeling, of emotional healing. Yeah.
Okay, so how has, what was the next question? Because I forget how to do it.
Well, when did you start as a therapist? When did your, let's say, your path as a therapist begin, and how did cacao change that path or enriched that path?
Well, my journey officially started, like I've been working with crystals since like my early teens. I used to meditate with them, I started collecting them, became connected with their angels, but officially giving like sessions to people, it was in 2012, which was supposed to be the end of the world, but it was the end. Do you know the Mayan calendar? Oh my God, the world's gonna end! But actually, it was a huge awakening, like soul self and spiritual self. So that's when I trained in angelic Reiki. Because I've been connecting with the angels. I started to do like angel card readings for friends, and I did my training in angelic Reiki, and I started to give sessions. That was my first offering. And angelic Reiki is very heart centered. It's from unconditional love. because the angelic kingdom of light is all about love. It's about giving people, it's providing to people upgrades, healing. I mentioned before at multidimensional levels. So they're very nurturing, they're very loving. So and the healing is transformational. It's very different. I've had lots of people say it's such a different experience than Yusai Reiki. I've trained in Yusai Reiki as well, but people only come to me for angelic Reiki because they're on their spiritual pathway. They're coming home to their spiritual selves and that journey. So it started in 2012, and I did Yusai Reiki, crystal healing. It's when you connect to the heart, when you come into yourself, you receive messages, and the messages tell you what your next journey is. And it was when so I also do, like, I've trained in yoga. There's so many different things that I everything that I do is multidimensional, but it also interweaves together. Michelle, you said earlier about a dance. Everything that I offer, it dances with each other. The offerings and the philosophy and the healing work is all together. It all dances. And it was in Goa that my interest in cacao was peaked because Carlos, you offered it. But at that time, maybe I wasn't ready for it because I was also going. When I went to Goa, I knew it was the end of my marriage. So that was kind of like a real massive healing time for me. And I think maybe my soul self knew that maybe I wasn't ready to dive that deep because I was already struggling, like, mentally and emotionally with the journey at that time. But the cacao just called to me when anything heart-led like knocks on my door, because it all interlinks together. And when I saw the information of Carlos and yourself, Michelle, holding space for the cacao training during lockdown, it seemed like such a gift, and I was ready for that journey. And I actually just literally, I came into myself and asked myself, is this something, is she calling to me? Is cacao calling to me? And I literally tuned in and I was like, yeah, this cacao is massively calling to me. And it's almost like you start walking, and it's like somebody's pushing your back, having you come forwards. So that was Carlos has been my inspiration. Yes, I did my first cacao ceremony with Maria, but when you meet certain people in your life at certain times, and when the time is right, then you take that journey with them. And I knew my healing journey, both at a personal heart level, to take it deeper into the heart, was that journey, to offer that.
I love how cacao calling cannot be avoided.
No. It'll keep calling until you open the door.
And it's, for me, I don't know, tell me how it was for you. For me, it feels like really, really gentle. It's not like so, like, how do you say, forcing you. It does not feel like forcing you. It does not feel like aggressive. It does not feel like you have to do this, but it's like a gentle companionship that is there, like water. I feel like really constant, and sometimes you don't even notice it's there, but it's getting through really deep.
Yeah, and it is like a hug. It's like a hug from one of your best friends, but also it's also a challenging friend.
Mhm.
Yes, it's gentle. Yes, there's such a huge connection to love, but also it will challenge you to connect to a level that you've been avoiding. Say if you've been avoiding going into your heart space, that you don't want to feel pain. That's sometimes when you speak about trauma, when you speak about loss, and that's why it's so important when you hold space for somebody's healing journeys to let them know that there may be challenging times, that in a lot of the cacao ceremonies that I do, people cough, and it's like this undelivered communication, this lack of expression that they haven't had in their lives, and it's really activating, and that's all that can be challenging for some people, to speak their truth from their heart. So it is a beautiful hug, and it is like your best friend who tells you some home truths as well. Like Pauline, you really need to deal with this aspect of your unhealed heart. Let me take you on a journey of healing. And
Like
then, yeah.
Andrea, who's commenting right now, she says yes, it's very subtle and a warm blanket wrapped around. And great, because I don't know. Well, her handle is Heart of Angels, and she also works with angels. So I think it's great that she's hearing us right now.
And she's coming to this next training.
Yeah, she's doing this next training.
Thank you for being here, Andrea.
Oh, amazing. Oh, welcome. You're going to love the training. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
There is something that might be a little bit controversial. I don't know, because I've heard, there's all kinds of people that some of them criticize this kind of work that we do. And one of the key words that I think is important to touch on is holding space. You mentioned about us holding space during the training, during COVID and quarantine, and many people have mentioned it. And it's something that we talk about during, for example, you giving your sessions, or us, or anyone facilitating any type of process. But some people don't understand what that is, or what that involves, or how it feels or looks from the other side, from being the one that is doing the work. So for you, what it is to hold space? What does it mean to hold space? It's something that we touched upon on the training, but I would like to hear about how it is for you. How do you feel it, or how does it work with you?
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. You do cover it absolutely beautifully in the training. Holding space, like how I approach the cacao ceremony, is I connect to the people beforehand, and that's the first stage. Connect to them energetically, seeing what it is that they're dealing with, get a sense of what they're dealing with, so that I can hold space for that. And then when people come, that they're welcomed with love, with a beautiful smile, and that the room is set up in a way that is welcoming to them. So you have your flowers, you have your crystals, whatever is the expression for you. You have the representation of earth, wind, fire, and air. But it is for them knowing that however they are is okay. Whatever they bring with them, it's okay. However they are is okay. And it's a way of being. It's a way of being. So like when you connect to your heart and you radiate, because it's a vibration. it's healing when you welcome somebody in the room. I have people say when they step into the room, they say, "Oh my God, I feel like I can breathe. I feel relaxed just walking into the room." So it's setting the intentions. What is it that you're going to provide? Like connecting to Mother Cacao, the energy of cacao. When you're preparing the cacao, I set my intentions of love, of joy, of healing, everything as I'm stirring the cacao. So that's already in the cacao. And then that comes into the room. And I bring that intention, that energy of cacao into the room. And people feel it immediately. So it's really important to like breathe. If you're a bit nervous, like I said to you, like Carlos, you know that I did this like cacao ceremony for like a possible TV program. This
How did that
couple.
go?
It went really, really well. I was so nervous, and you know, I did get that the intentions were pure. They had pure intentions, and yeah, they're on a journey. It's holding space for them. It was a good exercise for me, like because there was like 2 other people in the room. They was moving around with their cameras, filming. So it was another level for me to hold the space and have my energy and intention and holding that space for Regina and her partner Simon. Simon is the skeptic. But actually he's got such an open heart, and it was really beautiful. Like he was resistant, but I think he was also, you know, they're both actors, and I think he was playing like an acting role. But they got the intention of the cacao. Regina really beautifully connected to it, to her ancestors. She had tears. She was really moved, and I think it brought them closer as a couple. There's something shifted in their relationship, and I've seen from their Instagram afterwards they're so much closer. There's been this subtle shift, and you know, I was blown away, you know, because you have to just get yourself out of the way. When you're holding space, it is about getting yourself out of the way, you know. Acknowledge what's going on in the mind space, but okay, breathe it, let it go, and hold that space for the people in the room and the medicine that is cacao. And the medicine will do the work. The cacao will do the work. You just have to hold the space. That's the magic of it. Like this is your gift, and then people take it. It was great.
Wow, that's a lot of what we share in this training in expansive art about how to become a channel, and how, because for me being a channel is that getting ourselves out of the way and just being this voice in which divinity can flow, in which intuition can flow, chants can flow, messages can flow, and just being there with our presence, with our tools, ready to come out whenever they need to come out, according to the person or the circle we are facilitating to. And when we are in this consciousness, all this kind of being nervous or like being doubtful or like being like insecure can go away really easily, I think, sometimes, because it's not us that we have to provide something or that we have to be something to someone else, but it's just being there and being that space for that person to be. I loved how you said first thing, just like getting to this message to the person that comes to a ceremony, that they don't have to change anything, that they are fine being who they are, because sometimes a lot of the intentions when coming to a ceremony is to change or to be something else, or to having this being really uncomfortable with something that we are living, or with some emotion that we are having, and to establishing that there is nothing wrong with being who we are, that there is nothing wrong with the process that we're having. That is holding space, you know. Sometimes we feel as facilitators, or other people coming to us as facilitators, that we have to do something, that we are going to do the healing, that we are going to change their lives, that we are going to tell them what to do. And sometimes we have people actually asking really clearly to us, hey, what do I have to do with this situation? And it's like, no, we are just this space. That's why we find a kind of a difference with calling ourselves guides or leaders, to just calling ourselves facilitators, because we are not doing anything, kind of. We are just being. And by being, we allow or open the space for others to just be. And in that being themselves, if they want to change something, if they want to heal, if they want to change their perspective, they can do so, because the space is open for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the person's soul hears the calling. If a person feels safe in the sacred space, because you're the space holder, so when they know that however they are is perfectly beautiful, and then their soul will hear the calling, and that's when the soul will like, okay, this is the healing that I'm going to receive. And then it just all comes up. It literally, I've had people like crying immediately. They just sit down and immediately they're crying, you know. And that's the magic. It's not any. Yes, I'm good at holding a real safe and sacred space for people, and it's the most important thing. Like, people feel safe. And then the soul of the person, once they do take the medicine of cacao, then you don't need to do anything. The rest is them and the cacao.
Andrea says it's allowing the creation to be created through each one of us.
I love that, Andrea. That's so beautiful.
I would like to share one experience, very particular and strong experience that I had in Goa. It was around 3 years ago, I think, with a student that she arrived to the ceremony, and I remember all the way from the training began, she was kind of stiff, you know, and then I learned what it meant coming from her family, from her background. But during the training, I remember she was quite still all the time. Like, for her, at the end, she just mentioned that she enjoyed the music and the meditation, and that's it. But there was nothing else. No? So we went to sleep. We went to sleep maybe around, I think, 10 p.m. or so. And then at 2 in the morning, 4 hours after the ceremony had finished, one of the guards of the place came by to my room and knocked, and was like, "There's a girl that needs your help." So, okay, what's going on? I come out and she's in the front door, and she's like going through this breakdown, this emotional breakdown at 2 in the morning. So I sat down with her and what's going on, and she thought, I feel really weird. I don't know what's going on. She was feeling very anxious. So I said, okay, let's go take a walk. So we walked to the beach, and we were just talking and chatting about her life and her experience and everything. And little by little, we started like unraveling and untangling what was going on. And there was just so much emotion that had bottled up during the ceremony, and she just pushed it down, push it down, push it down because of her family structure and patterns. And every time we were dealing with it, we're already talking, but she was still feeling all the after effects of the first of the ceremony. She would faint, like literally faint. Like I had to catch her while she was, like falling to the ground. And it took all night. It took us all the way to 6 in the morning. So it's 4 hours of moving through it and reading it and tapping into that until it came out, all of this repression that she had as a child from her father. Even though she was a woman, she was not allowed to express her emotions and to just be herself. So that took many years for her to see, but now through the cacao, it was very clear. And at the end of the night, she was a completely different person, no? By the next morning. But it's showing how healing doesn't need to happen in that moment, and sometimes the repercussions or the how do you say, like the effect can happen in a longer time space. And as you said, like cacao will kind of not push you to any experience, but will enforce you in a way to open the heart regardless of what is there.
Yeah.
So we wanted to share also with you, or for you to share with us, how has this training of expansive art maybe helped you or invited you, inspired you to expand in what you already shared, like in this path of angelic Reiki, in this path of you channeling? How, when you took the training, if you feel like you expanded somehow?
Well, where do I start? It's expanded everything that I offer. It is, yes, I hold space for cacao ceremonies, which makes a profound difference in people's lives on a whole other level. I shared briefly about how I bring cacao into my sessions of people, like with my Reiki massage, my Elevate Energy sessions, or somebody comes for angelic Reiki, it calls to me, and it's grown, it's had me connect not only inside of offerings, how I offer it to people, but also into my own heart space, the deep healing that is provided to me. But I think the biggest journey, which is yet to be undertaken, and this is all through the first workshop that I did, beginning of the cacao training with you both, I had a journey to the Aztecs. I sort of astral traveled to the Aztecs, and I was greeted, face painted, they celebrated me. It was like I was going home. And I've always had this like to Mexico, and it's like drums have been banging louder and louder, especially after doing the cacao training with yourselves. And I'm actually going to Mexico in October to do a 3-week retreat in training in the Toltec shaman traditions.
Wow.
So I'm really delving deep into, I see like cacao as a very much a shamanic journey. The shaman's way of life is a connection with nature. It's a connection with plants. It's of the universal life force energy, which is of love. So it takes you on a journey beyond. It's taken me on a journey beyond where I thought was possible. And I still take my cacao, not every morning. but I have my dose. It's expanded my heart in such a way to go on adventures and experience life on levels that I didn't think were possible.
That's so beautiful, Pauline. Thank you for
So
sharing. And that's so interesting that you're coming to dive deep into our ancestral roots.
yes,
Wow, that's
yeah,
amazing.
it's been calling for many years. Just this whole healing journey with cacao has been on another level, you know, incorporating it into everything that I do. But when you connect to the heart at such a level, it takes you on adventures.
Yes.
It takes you on journeys. And, you know, I have a feeling that I'll be traveling a lot more with cacao. You know, it's not just going to be in the UK. There's going to be an expression beyond what I already know right now. It's not fully showed itself to me yet, but it shall at some point when she's ready.
Oh my God. I love that heart connection can take us into adventures. Of course, it makes a lot of sense to me because uh, heart, it's for me, it's like this childish energy, this really playful energy. So of course it wants adventures, it wants to explore, to experiment, and it's always there. This energy, it's always there and alive and speaking to us and inviting us to do this. But sometimes maybe our minds, maybe our repression, maybe our beliefs can be stopping us to it, can be repressing this voice, can be neglecting or rejecting this voice. So when we work with cacao and this powerful essence just dissolves all these armors, what's left is just this adventurous energy of the heart, ready to take us into adventure and just inviting us all the time to do these playful things, to go beyond even our own dreams, you know, what our life has to be or what our life should be, and just like going like with our heart open into the world, and just maybe a lot of times not knowing where it's gonna lead us. That's what adventure is to me. Not knowing, maybe not having a structure, not knowing that, oh, if I take this trip and if I take this training, I know when it ends, I'm gonna be like this. It's just like, oh, I feel, I have this feeling of going into it, and just I'm gonna do it and let's see what happens.
Exactly, and it's trusting the medicine, it's trusting the journey. It is, because it is, you do connect to that childlike dance. You're dancing with life. You know, you're going through your healing journey, and that opens up the expansion for adventure, to connect with the inner child, to dance. I dance a lot more, actually. I've been dancing every morning. Yeah, so it's incredibly profound. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, technical difficulties. Just quick arranging. I got battery out of my earphones. So just Pauline, we're ready for you to share with us something about what you facilitate, about what you are sharing with the world from your heart. If you would like to share a meditation or to facilitate something to us, do you want to share with us your magic?
Oh, yes. Yes, we're going to do a brief meditation. And this is a meditation. It's a vision of unity, to focus on the light and your right to see, and melting, resolving any issues of illusion. So nothing is withheld, but mostly connecting to the heart space. So if it all like so light language is coming through, so we might be interrupted by light language. If you like, close your eyes. Bring your right hand to your solar plexus, just at the navel, and your left hand to your higher heart. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Sigh out through the mouth. Inhale. Sigh out through the mouth. And come into stillness with your body. Allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, and the light language is inviting you to come home. As your left hand is on your higher heart, feel the beat of your heart. Connect to the divine within you. Let us take a journey together. In your third eye, see a beautiful forest in front of you. And we take steps into the forest and notice how soft the earth is underneath your feet. Maybe you smell the scent of the green leaves. Maybe you hear bird song. And as you hear the Lemurian light language, you will be receiving an upgrade to your soul self and welcoming these key codes, these upgrades. They are welcoming you home to your spiritual self. And we take a seat together in a circle in this forest. And we feel a beautiful green light, a green energy like the color of emeralds. It comes directly into your heart space. This healing energy of emerald. This emerald light. Breathe it in, feel it hit your heart, expanding your heart space, releasing any pain, any traumas, any upsets, any injustices, anything that has hurt your heart. Allow the emerald green light to be the healing of all that needs to be healed as you sit in this beautiful jungle around these beautiful plants. Feel them hold you also. Feel into the energy of your body as it expands. Maybe this energy also filters down, melts down into your solar plexus, which is your source of power. As the healing emerald energy heals your heart, your higher consciousness, it also reconnects you to your personal power. allow this energy to expand wherever it needs to go. You will feel it. Maybe it's coming down your arms. Maybe you feel a tingling in your palms. Welcome this activation. The healing will happen quickly. Not only in the dimension of the beautiful jungle you are in, but multidimensionally from this lifetime and past lifetimes. Those doors will shut and the seal broken, so you no longer repeat those patterns. Give thanks for the healing that you are receiving. We'll breathe into the last rays of emerald energy that is coming through. Allow it maybe to journey down to your toes and up to the crown of your head. Activating all the chakras and your soul star and your earth star. Know that Gaia always holds you in the sacred space of love, of growth, and also of healing. We are going to take our leave now of this beautiful jungle, but know that you can return here any time. We turn around and see our physical selves ahead of you. We journey back to our physical selves, landing back in our bodies. And bring the top of your hands to your knees. Expand into your physical body. Allow your radiant energy to come forward, expanding in all ways. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And Archangel Michael will anchor the healing into your heart space for however long you need. Be in this space for a couple of breaths. Notice your energy. Seta. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. First, allow the gaze to stay to the floor, to bring your body very gently back, your senses back, your sight, your physicalness, and we meet back fully. Yeah, so as Michelle is doing, you can give yourself a hug, you can take your hands around your arms, you can take your hands around your waist, giving yourself a hug of love. You may still feel the energy in your hands, the heat in your hands. This is your self-healing, so gifting it back to yourself for however long you need.
And I noticed that I'm in this kind of emerald color.
We're both wearing green, a different shades, but yeah. It's all about you were so in tune, Michelle. You knew green is for healing. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Wow, that was so beautiful, Pauline. Thank you so much for sharing your heart, your channel, your light. I love this because Andrea, that is here, so connected with us right now. She also speaks beautiful light language.
No.
Yeah, I also have been uh, just allowing these sounds to come out,
Yes.
and it's different. These three languages that I've been knowing, like Andrea's, now yours, and myself, really
Yes.
different, and
Yes.
it's really magical to connect with it. To just hear it and not trying to even make logic out of it, just allowing it to go directly to heart
Yes.
space, into our cells, into our aura and our energetic field, and it's doing its work, and it's so beautiful sensation. So I invite you also to do this. If you are seeing maybe this in a recording, or if you want to go back and do the meditation again, just letting go of any desire to make logic out of it, to reason it, and just allowing it to flow through our bodies.
Yes.
This Andrea says, you both are dressed in green. Yeah, yes, it's unique to each person. Let it flow. Let flow the light languages, please, so we can all
Yes.
so we can all immerse in them and flow and swim and dance with them. They feel so wonderful.
They do.
Oh, thank you, Pauline. So please follow Pauline and ask for therapy with her, go to ceremonies with her, and enjoy her beautiful medicine, her beautiful healing. Also, we would like to share to our YouTube and Instagram community that we are starting another expansive art training this August 15th. So we have 1 week left to start 4th generation of expansive art. And you are very welcome to join and to share and to just enjoying this space in which you can expand, in which you can touch your authenticity, and you can tap into your unique voice, so you can share it to the world and be contribution to this time in humanity. So if you have any questions, just please send us a DM or write to an email to us, and we'll be happy to answer any question. Thank you, Pauline, for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank
We
you for
love to
having
connect.
me.
Yeah,
Lovely
thank
to
you.
see
It was
you.
so wonderful. So,
Oh.
you want to say something?
Well, just again, giving you thanks for your time, and hope to reconnect once again. This time in London it wasn't possible, but hopefully next time it will be.
Yes, so be it.
Of it. And all together, we're going
Yeah.
as family next time.
Yes, please. Yes. That would be amazing.
Okay. Yes. Let's put that, set that intention in the universe.
Yeah. It is done.
It is fun. Thank you, family. See you
Thank
soon.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.